All right, what's up, people? So I figured I'd talk about this topic because I think it gets far too much push. I remember when I was, first encountering this whole debate, I tended to side with the Christians on this. But then I started to realize something. So this is going to be about abrogation within the Qur'an. And what does it mean? And is it problematic? Now, when we're dealing with Islam, what we have to differentiate is we have to differentiate between what you might call theology, and there is no point in theology that is ever abrogated, not even a single one. And then we have to deal with something called jurisprudence, which, they commonly call it Sharia law. It's basically a community rule, a way to organize the community, what to do when and where. Now, what you have to understand about the Quran is kind of a mixture of both of these. And so when you understand the history of early Islam within the life of the Prophet, you have to understand there was a lot going on, and it was happening really quickly. And so circumstances changed. So what might have been a good rule of the community on one day could be problematic the next, especially if you're being attacked or something like that. And so the idea is that you start off in the Meccan period and then you move into the Medinan period. And the theology never changes. And I'll get back to that in a second. The rules for running your community changed because circumstances changed. And the fact that this is documented within the Quran is not a knock against it. It's actually a preservation of a history of how early Islam interacted with the two communities, meaning the Meccan community and then the Medinan community. So I don't find that problematic at all. I think the Quran because you have to understand that each surah was revealed on what's called an occasion, the occasion of the revelation. So Muhammad would recite, a specific surah on a specific occasion. And then when you got to a later occasion, there was a recital of a surah that might seem like it contradicts, but it doesn't, because time always moves forward. So there's that. I don't find this problematic at all. I used to think that theology was being abrogated. It's just not. But what I'm going to talk about is Christianity and these, apologetic Christians, Christian apologists. What they fail to realize is that their entire New Testament is a theological abrogation of the entire Old Testament. A theological abrogation. See, the central message of the Quran is that God is one. He's unchanging. He's unceasing. Same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, as I believe the Bible even says. But when you have the New Testament saying, well, Christ is the ultimate sacrifice for all sins, and then you go back to the Old Testament and the law of Moses, well, one obviously abrogated the other on a theological level. So there's that.